This episode and every episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show is brought to you by Ironmonger Brewing. Visit Ironmonger at their tap room in Marietta, Georgia, or online at ironmongerbrewing.com.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yeah, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're broadcasting again, finally, Brian, back in the Beer Guys Radio Studios in Marietta, Georgia. And this week we're talking with 903 Brewers. I'm Tim Dennis, and with me as always is my good friend and co-host, Brian Hewitt.
Hey, Tim. So joining us today, we have Jeremy Roberts, the brewer and founder of 903 Brewers in Sherman, Texas. We're going to talk about Sasquatches, grilled cheese, the PastryArchy, and what all those things have to do with craft beer. Jeremy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. Excited to be on tonight.
We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. We hear it's stormy there, or it's going to be.
It's going to be. It's Texas, so we're always under a thunderstorm or a tornado warning. It's kind of part of life.
Yeah, that's kind of the way Texas goes. I lived in Nebraska, and so we get a lot of it there, Tornado Alley. So we've got one of your beers here we're sipping, and we're going to talk about that in detail a little bit more, but we've just opened up the Double Chocolate Cherry Sasquatch. And boy, is it good stuff. We're really enjoying that. Brian, how was your week? What'd you get into?
I got into a fair amount of stuff. It was pretty busy. I made two visits to Sweetwater. One was planned, one was unplanned. They had a media event there. We check out all the stuff they had at the kitchen. Of course, we'd been there prior, so I kind of have the inside track on what to eat. I ate a lot of boiled peanuts. Peanuts.
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
I like that a lot. Their pimento, everything, all of it wonderful. Of course, I had the 420 strain Mango Kush Wheat Ale again. I had to do that. And on my second visit, which after going there twice and talking it up, the wife decided she needed to check it out. So I had to take her back. And then I went and had the big Cocoa Hills, which is nearly 14%, all big coconut and chocolatey.
Okay.
So really good stuff. And
you said you had to take the wife back.
Yeah.
Did you argue a lot?
I argued so strenuously.
Sure. Right. Twisted the arm so hard.
Also did the Three Taverns. They had two beers released at the same time over the weekend, and they had a whole Latin theme release to go with it because they realized they were both kind of Latin, kind of inspired beers. So Saporis, I believe, is the way Brian Purcell had me pronouncing it, and Coco Cafe, and they had live Cuban music, and they even had a cigar roller. So I was kind of in heaven there.
It was your jam.
Oh,
right?
yeah. What did you do, Tim?
You know, Brian, I was under the weather this week. I enjoyed a couple Bebos at home. I found a can of the cake, the fistful of cake from Monday night. That was it, man. I did a lot of sleeping this week, just getting rid of some illness, and kind of fought through that. So
it's probably for the best.
It was for the best. Needed to refresh a little bit. Jeremy, how about you? Anything interesting for you this week?
Yeah, we had the Sherman Craft the Night Away, which is our little beer festival. It's 4 years, so it was, I think, 40-something degrees. We got about 4 inches of rain during the festival. It was all outdoors, so it was a lot of fun. And then Sunday, we did a big chili cook-off at the brewery. It was our third one. We had about 600 people come out. The weather was perfect. It was 70 degrees, and we raised a little over $15,000 for the Grayson County child's, basically for abused children. So it was a good turnout, and the community came out and supported it. So it was a good day.
Sounds like a good day.
Yeah.
A successful day, right?
We drank lots of beer in the rain, and we drank lots of beer on Sunday in the sunshine. So, we had a good time.
There was beer there. So
there was beer there.
Yeah, good stuff. We got a special guest in the studio this week, Brian.
Very special.
Someone who some may recognize his voice. We have Joseph Winsler with us. Joey, the Wins. How are you doing, sir?
Dude, it's so good to see you guys.
Yeah,
So
we
good.
haven't seen you in a long time. It's good to open a beer and just have a good time with you here.
It does seem like the only time you guys do see me is when I want beer.
That
that
it
is
works
true.
for you, right?
It does. It works for you guys too.
Yes, yeah. We're blessed with your presence here, and that's
Thank you.
for those who don't recognize Joey's voice. He is the announcer. You will hear him on the intro and in the different segment notifications for Beer Guys Radio. He is the voice
Honored to be a part of it. You guys are good
Awesome,
people.
man. Thanks for joining us. And I do want to mention for our Florida fans, we're actually headed down next weekend. We're going to come hang out with you. We are going down. We're partnering with our Tallahassee station, Real Talk 93.3. We're going down to St. George Island for the St. George Island Brew Fest, Brian, the SGI Brew Fest.
That's going to be exciting.
We'll be down there. We're going to talk to Proof Brewing.
Ooh.
We're going to talk to the Tallahassee Beer Society guys down there. And we're going to hang out on the beach and drink beer.
The Tallahassee Beer Society guys, that's going to be trouble.
It is going to be trouble. Yes,
I'm already aware of their Twitter shenanigans.
I follow them on
yes.
Twitter.
Yeah.
We know that's going to be trouble for sure.
You know, Tim, I think it's time for us to talk about the beers of the week.
Crack open a cold one. It's the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week. Craft beer and food trucks in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com.
Well, Brian, as always, we have a fantastic selection of beers. We pre-gamed with some good ones. Brian, one I'm going to talk about a little more because it's one
Okay.
I put in work, Brian. I
You
put
did?
in work to get this beer and pretty excited about it. I lived in upstate New York some of my younger days, and some of my first snagging a beer underage memories was with Genesee Cream Ale, Jenny Cream. And recently, Other Half and Genesee did a collaboration. They did Jenny Dream Ale, which is a heavily dry hopped cream ale version of Jenny Cream. And I had to have it. I scoured the internet beer trade groups, and I want to give a shout out to Marshall and Chris in Rochester. They hooked me up, Brian, and they didn't even want anything in return. They each sent me a can of that, so we were able to enjoy that. And what did you think of it?
I think it's a delightful beer, and I want to thank those guys. That's really cool that they did that.
Yeah, very nice of them to hook us up. Nice hop character, good hop aroma,
Absolutely.
good hop flavor. I really enjoyed it. I was glad to get my hands on some of it.
Very cool can as a guy who deals a
Yes.
lot with can
Yes.
collectors. So, yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
Like very reminiscent of the OG
Indeed.
Jenny can, but they're changing beers.
Oh, they are. That's right.
Yeah, so I don't know what I think about that. But anyhow, we're also going to get into some of that Three Taverns Saporus, Brian.
Sapros. It's like
Saporus.
amorous. Sapros.
Okay, and the Cocoa Cafe. As we mentioned, we are currently drinking the Double Chocolate Cherry Sasquatch from 903 Brewers, and we're going to get into their oak-aged maple coffee pecan porter. Is that right, Jeremy?
That is right. It's a mouthful, but it's delicious.
We're looking forward to it. That sounds super good. Well, Brian, what is happening this week's craft beer news?
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines.
Well, you know, Tim, Big Beer just can't catch a
I
break.
knew that's what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Constellation Brands is closing 2 Ballast Point locations in Southern California. What's more is they're also pulling the plug on a third planned location in San Francisco. The 2 locations were in San Diego and Temecula, and they've only been open since 2016 and 2017, respectively. So a very short lifespan on those. That's got to be a big cost.
That's fat,
Yeah.
yeah.
According to Brewbound, the company has recorded $195 million in, quote, impairment charges, which I gather is the official way of stating that you paid too much for the brewery that you just bought.
Okay, right.
So you may recall that they bought Ballast Point for about $1 billion, exactly $1 billion in 2015. And I don't think they've seen much growth out of that at all.
Bad timing to buy a
Oh, yeah.
big brewery like that. They just don't have the growth like they did a few years ago.
True. So speaking of Southern California, San Diego is getting a beer museum. I don't know if you saw this. The plans are for the Museum of Beer to open by 2020. And it's going to function as both a beer welcome center for San Diego beer scene and as an educational experience. So there's going to be high-tech, immersive, hands-on exhibits about beer, like you hear a lot of museums talking about with other things. The process of making beer will be described and the history of beer. At the moment, the project is in a fundraising phase. And so if you're interested in helping out, you can contribute through their Indiegogo page. And they've got a video on there. They've got some pretty high-profile people that are supporting them. They've got Greg Cook from Stone. I think they had Tony Hawk. They had a bunch of different celebrities and local politicians in the video for it. So
I would be interested in a beer museum to see all that's going on there. I mean, I like reading history books on beer, just finding out about the history of what's going on in Georgia or anywhere. And
sometimes I feel like my office area with all my beer is kind of a beer museum. It's all beer that I should have
museum
consumed.
of something.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Speaking of Sasquatch, your office may actually get mistaken for a Sasquatch den, I think. Right?
It might actually, yeah. It's very likely if I'm in there, especially.
Yeah. Now I know you like museums. It's a beer museum, and I know you've bragged about your time at the Ham Museum.
Museo de Jamón over in Madrid. Yes, I'm quite fond of that.
Yeah. So all your favorite things, right?
all in a museum, ham and beer together in a museum. That would be wonderful.
Good stuff. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take a break, but we'll be back very soon to talk with 903 Brewers.
Craft beer forged with a reverence for tradition and new styles that start a revolution. Ironmonger Brewing. The brewers at Ironmonger Brewing pride themselves at being masters of barrel-aged, hoppy, and sour beers. They invite you to their tap room in Marietta, Georgia to taste and see. Also visit their barrel room for an intimate drinking experience with great live entertainment. Keep up to date on all things Ironmonger by liking them on Facebook. Ironmonger Brewing, establishing a new standard in craft beer.
Brian and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth are always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy, Brian. They've got 18 of them.
As for the truck part, that's where it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks, so you're getting a different menu every day.
Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth.
Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Next Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you missed an episode, don't worry. All episodes are available as a podcast. Subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and never miss a show. Now back to our conversation with Jeremy Roberts from 903 Brewers.
Jeremy, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it.
Oh, man, glad to be here. Excited.
We're having a good time. As we mentioned earlier, we're drinking your Double Chocolate Cherry Stout, and I'm going to get you to tell us about that in just a minute if you don't mind, but I've got a question for you. I think you and I have met on the patio of Mockery Brewing at GABF 2016. Does that sound familiar to you?
Man, I don't remember much about GABF.
Okay. All right. I'm almost positive. We were hanging out there. There was a good group. We were going around. And that's when Brian mentioned that he set up the interview with you. I thought, I'm pretty sure I met those guys in Denver. But either way, whether you remember it or not, it was a good time out there, right?
Was that kind of by Great Divide's new
It is.
I do remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah, kind of down there, a little small space there, but a pretty cool little spot.
Yeah, I do remember that. Funny how you're drunk sometimes and you shouldn't remember anything, but as someone mentions a comment, stuff like your brain starts remembering.
Yes. Turning the wheels, it comes back there. Yeah, I don't think any of us were feeling any pain at that time we were down there, but
maybe the next day, but not then.
Right, not at that time exactly. Well, this your Double Chocolate Cherry Stout. This is a version of your Sasquatch, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us about this beer, please?
Yeah. So what Sasquatch is the beer that made us famous, as we say at the brewery. In 2015, it won a silver medal at the Great American Beer Festival, which we were totally shocked. We just have, just played a lot of different variants with this beer. Well, Sasquatch turned 5 this year. And so what we've done is we've created these reserve series for Sasquatch. We're all big whiskey drinkers at the brewery, and, every distillery has kind of like a reserve series. So we thought Sasquatch needs reserve series. So our regular Sasquatch is 10.5%. Comes in 4-pack cans year round. So in this Double Chocolate Cherry Stout, what we wanted to do with Sasquatch is up the ABV from 10.5, and I believe this one's just a little over 15%. How many pounds of cocoa nibs we actually added to this? I'll just say this: we went over budget on this beer.
Okay.
So it's crazy what we did with it. Of course, it's oaked age, and we added 37 pounds of cherry per 31 pounds. So this beer is, it's a reserve. So we went all out. We didn't hide anything with it.
I got to say, this drinks really well for 15%.
It does.
I didn't look at it beforehand. I wouldn't have guessed.
This is contraband in Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
So this is, we can't handle, our government said we can't handle stronger than 14 here. So this is too much. You know what? I get very deep chocolate, dark chocolate. I get the cherry, sweet cherry. I get a licorice note in there too. And it's nice and thick, full-bodied beer. This is super tasty.
And it's oaked age. And so, basically what we've done is instead of age them in oak barrels or whiskey barrels, we actually add the oak spirals right when we pitch the yeast. And then so that way that when the beer is just going crazy and doing its thing, the yeast is eating the sugar, converting into alcohol. It's just everything's touching these oak spirals. And of all the adjuncts from the cocoa nibs and the cherries, you don't really taste the oak. And we packaged this beer 1st of February because we wanted, if you look at the packaging, it's kind of Sasquatch is dressed up around Valentine's Day. And this beer, man, in just a few months has aged amazing. I can't wait to retaste this beer in a year.
Oh, it's delicious. And, talking to the packaging, when I got the package and I pulled it out, I assumed this was like a 375 bottle or something, And then I looked, so really cool for those who can't see. We'll put a picture of this on our website, but it's a box that looks like it would hold a small bottle, but there's 2 12-ounce cans in there. So get you a couple cans in that. So that's kind of a cool way to package.
Yeah. So the reason for that, so, one of the things that we get a lot is, we last year released 50 different beers. I would say between 15 and 20 of them were, small barrel aged, mostly 22-ounce bottles. So a lot of things that we got back from our customers and people in our bottle club was look, I can't find anybody to share this beer with. And, being a 15% beer, it's really hard for me to drink it all in one setting. And I thought, I would never say that. I could drink 2 of these bottles. Like, 22 ounces in one setting. So, we like hand fill every bottle, 4 at a time. It takes forever. So, we have a really nice automated cannon line. So, we kind of came up with the idea, well, what if we took 2 12-ounce cans, put them in a box, they get 2 extra ounces, and it's got really cool packaging. And all of our accounts just went crazy over it because they said, look, bombers are just dying in Texas. I don't know about in other parts of the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
They sit on shelves. There's nothing but this box and 2 cans. So on the back of the box, we put age it, drink it, trade it, share it. So one of the things that I love doing is not just with our beers. My favorite one to do is with Oscar Blues 1050 is I buy a case of it every year. And, I do like right now I have, I think it's a 6-year vertical. So I taste them all back to back with each other. And it's really cool to see how those beers age. And so what we want is, this is batch 1. So, we're going to do this every year is hopefully people will save one back and try it with next year's. And, also beer trading is huge. So, we encourage it, age it, drink it, or if not, trade it or share it with a buddy. Drink one with yourself and give one to drink one for you and give one to someone else. And so the 2 12-ounce cans in a box is just a really cool packaging format.
I agree. That is super cool.
I think, Tim, we should have saved one. We didn't. We got into the second before we realized
we made it. It said age it, drink it. We're like, drink it. That's a great idea. Let's do that. Absolutely.
I want to know. I got to know, since we're on the subject of Sasquatch, if there are many reported Sasquatch sightings in Northeast Texas.
Oh man, yeah.
Yes.
Is it? Okay. All right.
So you want me to go on how we came up with the name Sasquatch?
We do.
Sure. Yes.
Absolutely.
So you think this beer, like one of the things that we do really well at 903 Brewers is we hide the alcohol. For example, I'm drinking this right now, and if I didn't know, I would say it's a 7% stout. It's just too smooth. So our original one, me and a guy named Mike Sorrells, he's a local home brewer. He helped me come up with a recipe, and so we were going for a 10.5% stout is what we were going for. And this was in 2013. I was brewing on a 1.5 barrel system, super small. And, we were like, how can we get a 10.5% in this 1.5 barrel system? So, we brewed it. And then, the beer finished out great. We hit it right at 10.5%. We put it on the tap wall. And it was me and a buddy of mine. And so we were trying the beer. And I was just like, this beer doesn't taste like 10.5%. What did we do wrong? How did I mess this up? So 1 beer turned to 2, 2 beers turned to 3, 3 beers turned to 4, 4 beers turned to 5. And my buddy stood up to go to the bathroom and he fell flat on his face. Well, we were looking at our brewing notes and we weren't paying attention. We were hammered. I mean, we were drunk. And so I started laughing, and I was like, that damned old Sasquatch snuck up and got you. Which is this big, dark beer, and it's super sneaky. And so he was like, that's hilarious. That's what you got to name the beer, Sasquatch. And then so that's kind of how we came up with the name. However, we never realized we would have so many fans that don't really like the beer. They love the packaging, and they're believers, and they think that we're believers. So, my job is beer and merchandise, so I just go along with them. And we meet quite the few characters that come through the brewery, just want to buy a Sasquatch shirt or some type of Sasquatch merch.
All right. You need to collaborate with Great Divide.
Oh yeah, the Yetis and all that.
Yes, hibernation and all that stuff. I think that needs to happen.
Yes,
make that happen there.
That would be really cool. You got any connections over there? Let us know.
Let's we'll see what we can do, man.
Work on that.
Yeah, but it's great story. It's always fun to hear the stories behind that, and I could see how this could sneak up and just lay you out there. Big old Sasquatch smack to the back of the head, right?
Yeah. This one for sure.
Good stuff. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take another break, but we'll be back very soon to talk more with Jeremy from 903 Brewers.
We are Reformation Brewery, celebrating the reformer in you. Locally crafted within the renowned Etowah watershed of Woodstock, Georgia, Reformation creates yeast-forward brews full of aroma and flavor crafted to last. Come see us in beautiful Woodstock, Georgia, for a tour and tasting of unique brews that you can't find anywhere else. Reformation Brewery. Set beer free. ReformationBrewery.com.
As a brewery owner or taproom manager, are you looking for ways to enhance your customer experience while maximizing your revenues? Craft Cellar is a mobile solution that helps your brewery drive sales and attract new customers through online pre-sales for beer releases, events, and memberships. Get details now at craftcellar.com. Mention Beer Guys Radio after sign up and extend your free trial to a full 30 days. Remember craftcellar.com, craftcellr.com.
The Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Oh, God, here we go again. Dork alert.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, KCPX 1490 AM in Moab, Utah. Catch Beer Guys Radio on KCPX every Sunday at 3 p.m. Mountain. Now back to our discussion with 903 Brewers.
Jeremy, I'd like to talk Texas beer laws with you for a minute, if that works for you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I've been following, I believe the bill is HB 762. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So you guys are trying to get direct sales, and I'm going to run over some quick bullet points just for the sake of time, and please correct me if I'm mistaken here, but right now Texas is the only state that does not allow to-go sales from their production breweries. Right. However, wineries, distilleries, and brew pubs can offer to-go sales. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you actually switched to a brew pub license in order to get around that. Is that right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So I guess first question, moving to a brew pub, what limitations do you face there as opposed to being a production brewery?
So you can't brew over 10,000 barrels of beer in a year per location. So, like last year, we brewed around 3,500 barrels of beer. And this year, we're probably going to hit close to maybe 4,200. So we still got a ways to go till we hit that cap. But for us, it's that direct sell to the consumer, doing small batches of beer, and really getting to go back to our roots as home brewers is having fun and relating to our customers versus, putting a bunch of beer out on the market that's just going to sit on the shelf. And so it was a decision that my wife and I made of, hey man, we don't want to go the route of a production brewery. We don't foresee that law changing in a long time. So 2 years ago, we switched to a brew pub, and it's been one of the best decisions we've made as the brewery.
Now, what is the reason for allowing brew pubs and everybody else to do to-go sales, but not production breweries?
So what they say is it prevents bigger breweries. So like, here recently we've had Four Corners got bought out by Constellations. We had Revolver Brewing Company get bought out by Coors Miller. Carbach got bought out by InBev. So what they said is like, let's allow brew pubs to do that. However, we don't want big production breweries to be able to sell beer to go, because what it's going to do is it's going to prevent smaller breweries from growing. It makes no sense. What's going on is our distributors in the state of Texas have a lot of money. They're very fearful of it. And also retail accounts, because I'm going to tell you this, once we started selling beer to go out of our brewery, our top accounts throughout town sold less and less beer, because our local customers wanted to support us. They're like, if I'm going to pay, $8 to $9 or $10 for a 6-pack, I'd rather go directly to the brewery and buy it versus buying it from the local grocery store where, they're not making as much money. So, it is a true fact, but, Texas, who's, they're very for, growth and small businesses. It's just really kind of frustrating to see these old beer laws just haven't changed.
Well, that was something that I had wondered, because of course we just got direct sales here in Georgia in 2017.
Awesome.
I just got the laws passed here, and it's been great for us. Our breweries has boomed. We have lots more people open. We have some that have opened specifically with the direct sales model in mind, where they're not even going into distribution. They're just focusing on those direct sales. Come to the brewery and drink our beer. Mm-hmm. And, in the grand scheme of things, I could see how it would impact sales of your local accounts. But sure. But also I have read many cases where visiting the brewery and trying the beer and being able to take some with you increases your likelihood to purchase it down the road. So for those people that aren't a drivable distance from the brewery, you can still benefit and grow everybody. The rising mash tun raises all ships, Brian.
Or all mash paddles, I think is what the rising mash tun raises all mash paddles. I think that's how it goes. And the interesting thing is I've seen it in a couple of different industries. The big guys, if they can take a small hit, and they'll be fine with it because they know that the smaller guys will take that hit and it will not be as survivable. It's crushing. So they're like, fine, we're cool with not being able to sell to go, but no other of these small breweries can either. And it actually winds up benefiting them because they have huge presence everywhere. They don't need to sell it directly out of a brewery, or they've got the structure behind them. So you mentioned, Jeremy, that 10,000 barrels per location. I think I saw somewhere that you're opening up a second location in Northeast Texas. Is that true?
So not a second location. It'll be a newer location for us. About 3 years ago, my wife and I bought this old school. It's in downtown Sherman. It's right off the big highway that runs all the way from Dallas all the way to Oklahoma City. And a cool story on it is it's actually a school that my grandparents went to, and my great-grandparents lived 2 blocks from it. And it's just been run down. It's been an eyesore. We've heard everybody in town had dreams of doing something with it. So we thought, why don't we do something with it? And so it's been something we've been working on for about 3 years. Our goal was, to move there within the next 7, but we're on track to hopefully be able to move in there sometime next year.
Oh, next year. Okay. All right.
The 903 Schoolhouse, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
And from what I've seen, pretty big plans with it, a big open space, event space, and that. So it's, if I remember, it's 3 stories. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So it's 3 stories. Top floor is going to be a ballroom for weddings, events, just big parties. The middle floor is going to be our restaurant tap room. And then the bottom basement is going to be bathroom, offices, and sits on 2.5 acres. So the actual production facility will be on the property. But we're making an acre of it, an actual true, beer garden with a stage, live music, and, being a family-owned business with a 3-year-old and then a 1-month-old, we want it to be a place where mom and dad can bring the kids can run around and play, and mom and dad can have a drink and have a good time. So we're really excited about all the plans that we got for it.
Yeah, sounds like it's going to be an awesome place. We just had, I live in a little place called Woodstock, Georgia, and we had a brewery open, not quite on that scale, but they've got a huge open garden area, lawn area out front, and it's family friendly, and it's kind of in the middle of our downtown area. It becomes a community gathering spot. People go there, they have a beer, relax on the lawn on Sunday. Right across the street from that, there's a very small stage and some green space in a park, so concerts play. Just a nice place to hang out and have a good time.
That's what it's about, man.
I agree. So you've got an anniversary coming up, right? We can't not touch on that. May 11th is that right? Your 6th anniversary?
6th anniversary. Actually brewed my first batch of commercial beer 6 years ago today. So
okay. All right.
Yeah. So our anniversary is actually party was the 1st of June, but man, it just gets so damn hot in Texas in June, and so we moved it up a couple weeks, and mid-May it's still in the mid 80s, and being a brewery that used to not have air conditioner, we do now. Especially in Texas, we moved it up just a few weeks early, so we're coming up. It's people always say, "Man, 6 years," and I said, "Yeah." Some days it feels like it's been 6 days, and some days it feels like it's been 600 years.
Right. Yeah.
But
was there a big discrepancy between when you brewed your first beer and when you actually opened? How long was that space? Because it sounds like not a lot of time went between the two. Like you got right into brewing professionally.
Well, so I started home brewing in 2008. And then 5 years after that's when we brewed our first batch of commercial beer. But as far as, we kind of got in trouble by the local agent. We rented the building out. We'd had it for 6 months, and we were just pending getting our license and everything. Well, we already had our equipment. It was a 1.5 barrel system. So we were already brewing beer, and we were doing small private tastings, getting feedback from locals and just people in the industry. And the state actually did a mini raid when we weren't there, which is pretty funny because they basically thought we were bootlegging booze, is what somebody had said.
The revenuers caught you, man.
That's right.
The revenuers come down there, take you out.
They caught up to us, but they did a mini raid and we weren't there, and it was all a big misunderstanding. But it was pretty funny.
No repercussions for that, right?
No, because they'd already cashed my check for $8,000.
There you go. Get it straightened out. Yeah. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take another break, but we'll be back to wrap things up with Jeremy from 903 Brewers. Brian and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth are always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy, Brian. They've got 18 of them.
As for the truck part, that's where it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks, so you're getting a different menu every day.
Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth.
Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you. As a brewery owner or taproom manager, are you looking for ways to enhance your customer experience while maximizing your revenues? Craft Cellar is a mobile solution that helps your brewery drive sales and attract new customers through online pre-sales for beer releases, events, and memberships. Get details now at craftcellar.com. Mention Beer Guys Radio after sign up and extend your free trial to a full 30 days. Remember craftcellar.com, craftcellr.com.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons can get some cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. And now, let's get back to 903 Brewers.
Jeremy, I would like to talk grilled cheese with you.
All right, let's do it.
All right, man. So for the, I guess the pub part of your brew pub, you have a grilled cheesery.
We do.
Inside, correct?
It's new to us.
Okay, new to you. Okay, good deal. So if I am sipping some double chocolate cherry stout, what kind of grilled cheese is best to pair with that?
Well, so in Texas, bacon goes with everything. So
sure,
my favorite is the ooey gooey, which is our classic grilled cheese with just these big, thick strips of bacon on it. that is like the perfect pairing with that beer.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I am too.
I'm counting on that.
Was that in the box with the beers?
It was, but I ate it when
Oh,
it got
yeah.
here. Yeah, I threw it on the griddle and took care of it. Now, seriously, with your restaurant, your grilled cheese restaurant, do you do pairings with your beers? Do you offer, hey, this one's going to pair really good with this beer?
We do. So like for, kind of, we'll put it out there on a ticket deal where, 20 people can come in with us. We're going to pull out some rare beers. We're going to pair this with our food and kind of like just an exclusive night with us and our team. And people absolutely love that. And it goes so well. So the restaurant is actually my dad's little bitty grilled cheese restaurant in downtown Sherman. And he just ran out of space. And we had food trucks. We get so many times food trucks would just bail on us last minute. It killed our business if there was no food there. So towards the end of last year, I just said, Dad, let's do this. Let's make a deal. Let's partner together. Let's move the grilled cheese restaurant to the brewery. And it's been the best thing that we've been able to do because we're open more, and people in just Sherman never caught on ordering from a food truck. And so it's so neat when people come in because, my dad takes the order and, I pour the beer and, we talk to them. And I mean, people just eat that up. And that's what we're about. It's just that, real personal one-on-one action with the food and the beer and just talking about it.
So food trucks never really caught on there then, huh?
No, people just, they hated it. They hated the concept. We loved it.
Really?
Yeah, we loved it, but people in Sherman just want to order inside, and so that's what we've given them.
All right.
So I have to know, what's your dad's favorite beer when he's gonna, after making a hard day of making all them grilled cheeses, he's gonna have to have a beer to cool off with. What does he drink?
He loves our Cerveza Por Favor. It's our Mexican lager, and he also loves the Goza. He actually pours the Goza over ice, and he sits there and drinks it because he thinks that people don't realize he's drinking beer while he's working behind the bar if he pours it over ice.
Okay. That's no one's the wiser. You do you.
It's a bit of a slushie, if you will.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. Speaking of your Cerveza Por Favor, we've seen a rise in lagers. I know we've seen a rise in personal consumption.
Yes.
We're drinking more of those. We've got one here that we talk about a lot, Bebo Pilsner from Creature Comforts Brewery in Athens, Georgia. That's a regular in my refrigerator. We go out. We just went out. Our Der Biergarten here in Atlanta did a halfway to Oktoberfest festival.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we went out and we got some liter steins of lagers. I'm just really enjoying the simple drinkability of lagers these days. We just had Line Creek Brewing that we just enjoyed before the show, sent us some of their Helles Lager Maverick that we're enjoying. Yeah. How are those? How does that do for you at your brewery compared, to your other beers and such?
Well, I mean, we can't brew Cerveza Por Favor fast enough. Matter of fact, the chili cook-off we had at the brewery on Saturday, like I literally just stood behind the bar with my back to the line and never closed the Cerveza tap. I just was pouring glass after glass after glass after glass. I think we were averaging 3 half barrels an hour. So
that's a lot of beer.
Yeah, that's what people like to drink. It's a 4% lager, 105 calories, 5 carbs. So people that are, conscious about their calories and their carbs, that's the beer for you. It's a good beer. It's just, I'll give me a 12 to 15% stout. That's what I'm going after.
Yeah, we clearly are in the same boat. I think we don't really we're not concerned about the carbs. We're all about drinking some. Well, we do enjoy the lagers though.
We do,
yeah.
But we just enjoy them because we enjoy them. It's not necessarily that we're looking to cut carb count there. But speaking of lagers, do you have a slow pour tap, or have you messed with slow pour lagers?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's something that we've seen around Atlanta. We've been rambling about it. Are you familiar with the slow pour lagers?
I'm not. I'm kind of.
Okay.
I don't want to sound. I don't want to sound dumb, but fill me in.
No, it's kind of an interesting tap, and I believe it originated in Czech Republic.
The Czech Republic, Brian? Yeah.
They've got a couple different taps, but one has a sideways handle. Instead of flicking it forward, you kind of twist it, and you start off pouring very slow, and basically it's about 80% head on that first pour, right, Brian?
About that, yeah. You pour, you let it set, you tap it down.
You tap it down, let it set. But the end result of this is the head on the beer is thick, almost like a meringue. It really gives you a nice, clean mouthfeel in the beer. The hops are nice in there, and you've got that thick, creamy head that stands there firm the whole beer. Now, it takes 5 to 7 minutes to pour one, so it's time consuming. but it's a tasty beer. And I think it'll be a passing fad here. I don't
Probably,
see, because it's not something with the way Americans consume beer, it's not realistic to keep something that's going to have a bar taking 7 minutes to pour a beer. But
sure. So the Cerveza Por Favor, how is that? Is that outselling your cream ale series of beers that you've come out with recently? Because that's a big thing for you right now. The Down with the PastryArchy series, is that correct?
Yeah, the Down with the PastryArchy series. So like if you take our beer that's just for example for Cerveza and put it against any of our other just beers, Cerveza outsells it almost 2-1. Now, if you take like the series, like the PastryArchy, no, those sell out so fast. So like 2 weeks ago, we released what I'm drinking right now is our strawberry cake cream ale. Today we packaged our cinnamon roll cream ale, but next week I'm packaging my cinnamon roll stout. So what's awesome about this is, my background sales and marketing. And so 903 Brewers, we support our local community. So I'm a fat kid. I love sweets. And so where my house is, I'm 4 blocks from this place called Mom's Bakery. It's been around since I've been alive. And every year for your birthday, Easter, whatever, you get this strawberry cake from Mom's Bakery. And so I brewed a cream ale. I used 150 pounds of their cake and I actually added it into the mash. And then I used 330 pounds of Oregon fruit strawberry puree and actually Madagascar vanilla beans. And it literally tastes like you're eating the cake.
Well, that's because you got 150 pounds of cake in there.
Well, then the fat kid in me goes, oh, there's a donut place that's, a half a mile from my house where, I don't tell my wife I'm going there sometimes when I head to the brewery. And so I said to him, I said, hey, I want to brew a beer using your donuts. So we did 150 pounds of cinnamon rolls. And I'm telling you, it tastes, I'll almost send you guys some. It tastes like you're biting into the middle of a cinnamon roll. You taste the vanilla, you taste like that ooey gooey part of the roll, and then you taste the cinnamon. We use lactose in all of them, so it gives it that nice creamy, velvety mouthfeel. And it has been a home run. Now, this series, where my wife and I own the brewery, but we're a majority woman-owned brewery. And so when people come into the brewery, naturally they want to just talk to me. And I'm like, but this is my wife. She's the one who installed all the beer equipment. She's the one that runs the show. So we really want to showcase the women of the brewery. And so this beer is them. And so it's kind of funny. It's called Down with the PastryArchy. It's a play off of it. But, there's a ton of women into craft beer right now. I mean, our tap room is mainly 6 out of 10. It's women. We release these beers. It's 8 out of 10. That's women. Not only do women smell better than men, but they also, they spend more money and they enjoy nice beers. And so we really want to encourage the women empowerment and we're really proud of it. I'm proud of my wife. And so this whole beer series is based upon that.
Good stuff, man. Sounds like an awesome program. Great beers, great people, everybody coming out and enjoying them. Well, Jeremy, we appreciate your time today. We have run out of time, but if folks want to find out what is coming up from 903 Brewers, what is the best way for them to do that?
I handle all the social media for us. I do a ton of videos that talk about our beer. If you can't make it your way to Sherman, Texas, man, we are at the Great American Beer Festival every single year. I never leave my booth. I pour, and I'm always looking forward to the Great American Beer Festival and talking to people. But more importantly, if you see our beer, definitely give it a try. I promise you're going to enjoy it as much as I do.
Awesome, Jeremy. Thanks again. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us on.
Well, cheers, y'all. That about wraps it up for this episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. Coming up next week, we're going to be talking with Jeremy Kosmicki, the head brewer at Founders Brewing Company. For more craft beer info, follow us online. We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a great week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers.
The Beer Guys Radio Show on the Beer Guys Radio Network. BeerGuysRadio.com.